Today's episode is brought to you by EliteFTS.com. Founded in 1998 with the primary aim to live, learn, and pass on. Please help Elite FTS support this mission by smashing the like button, leaving a comment, sharing with a friend, and thinking of us for your training needs. If you can put it in a gym bag or load weights on it, Elite FTS has it.
What's going on? I'm Dave Tate. We are broadcasting from the middle of the Elite FTS weight room, where the underground still thrives and you're part of the crew. It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk. We good? All right, what's going on, guys? This is episode 120. It's a special episode. Today I have Dr. Ken Kinakin and Dr.Eric Serrano. So the first thing we're going to throw out there is, something that we've been working on for a while, which is announcing that we're bringing SWIS to Columbus. Correct. October 28th and 29th, right?
Yeah.
So I know this now. Like, a couple months ago, it was like, we were trying to figure it all out. We didn't want to announce any earlier because we wanted to make sure everything was secure with the hotel. Contracts are signed. We're ready to roll. So we're going to talk just a little bit about what's going on with this. Let's just start with how did this all come together?
I think the biggest thing is that I've been running SWIS up in Toronto, Canada, since 1999. And Eric, I think you came out in 2000. Was the very first time, and then you came out with Wendler in 2002. Mm-hmm. And so been doing it for 20 years, and last one was in 2018, I was going to do 2020. We were shut down, COVID, everything else. And so I thought, well, they said it'll be 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it's turned into 2 years. And you know what? I don't know what's going to happen in Canada. Canada has a lot of different rules and ideas on how to open things, close things. I don't really know what's going to happen. And so I came down in March for the Arnolds, and I stayed with Eric. And we were talking as far as, maybe we should do it here. And I thought, since half the presenters come from Columbus, Ohio, I thought, what, this would be a great facility. It would be a great city. It's already held the Arnolds for 25 years plus. And so then I reached out to you, Dave, and I said, you know what? I want to co-host this. I've always done it by myself, but I want to co-host this. Let's make this bigger. Let's make this better. Let's make this more exciting and more accessible to everyone. And so Dave and I, we hashed it out, and, we've been working really well together, and we've come up with a list of incredible presenters and the structure. And Eric and I, we were out at the Hilton Hotel yesterday and looked at the facility. It is beautiful. The rooms are enormous. We have lots of space for the exhibitors and the sponsors, and it's within the Easton Mall. You want to talk about that, Eric?
Well, the Easton Mall is supposed to be the biggest mall in the United States, outside mall, not like the one in Minnesota. The good thing about this is that it's going to offer every person that comes in, if you want to eat some way, I don't care what kind of way you want to eat, it's already there. If you want to have a nice facility, it's already there, including the rooms where you stay, including where you're going to have the lectures, including where you want to work out. And also it gave access to a lot of other things we had not had before. This is the first time that you can come to a SWIS conference and say, hey, I want to go see Dave Tate's gym. I want to see what is true, what is real. And I always tell people, this gym is the most unorganized gym ever with the best of everything. And I make fun of Dave, but I always go there and say, Dave, where is the leg area? Over there, right? And then, Dave, there's two leg of things over there, I said, well, yeah, I didn't want to move the equipment. So if you ever want to see a gym that is not only have the best of the best, you gotta come to Columbus, Ohio. Another thing is, when Dave built this place, I saw he was building it to sell drugs because you cannot find it. I mean, the first time I came here, I'm driving. Thankfully, I believe in God, and there's a church right on the entrance of the gym. But you guys gotta come and see this. And I think that the people that are going to show up to the SWIS conference are going to have the best experience ever. Not only because the speakers, but the facilities, because the amount of things that you can do outside of that area is incredible. I hope that you guys understand that Dave and Dr. Kinakin has put a tremendous amount of time into this, and the speakers this year are unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we started going back and forth, and it was, there's obviously a big expense involved in all this. So it's like, well, there's a hotel. Is the hotel going to be big enough? And vetting out the hotel, negotiating with the hotel, So it's, I mean, where we're at right now is on the website. The link will be in the bio for what would you call it? The early bird rate.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So the early bird rate will be, just to sign up, and then over a period of time, we'll have more of the formalities coming out of exact speakers and stuff like that. But in general, there's going to be 5 tracks, right?
5 tracks.
5 tracks.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
So the 5 tracks, so we've done it in the past where we always had a training stream, and that was the powerlifting, and that was the bodybuilding, that was strength and conditioning, that was speed. So anything that is for strength development, we focused in on that. Another stream is the nutrition stream, everything from hypertrophy, fat loss, for injuries. Dr. Serrano usually does great presentations. We also talk about, hormones, PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. That basically one of the only symposium that I've ever seen that actually talks about it with not only from academics, but from actual athletes. In 2016, we did the first one. Dave was there. Eric was on the panel. And we had Ben Johnson, who was the fastest man in the world at that time. As far as the sprinter, we had Dorian Yates, we had Kazmaier, we had a number of different people that were all talking about it, doctors. So we try and be as authentic, and we're not promoting it, we're not condoning it. It's just that's the reality of the situation. We have another stream that we bring in all the top doctors and therapists in the world, showing all their techniques. And you got to, it's almost, and some of it is workshop style. And then we bring in all the top rehab people in the world. Another one that we're going to be rolling out is, it's called Just One Thing. And what that is it's a 15-minute presentation. And what that is that what's the one thing that we can actually impact you with that you can use on Monday morning? Because sometimes the presentations can be theoretical, which is nice, but what's the one thing that I can get? So there's literally 39 one-thing presentations that are going to happen. We're going to be going on Friday from 1 in the afternoon till 8 at night, or whenever we end. And then on Saturday, it'll be from 8 until about 8. And then the networking, the partying, the meeting new friends, reconnecting with old friends. And I've said this in the past, and it didn't click in until 2018. I always said that the symposium happens in the hallway. It's not in the presentation rooms. The presentation rooms, it's basically one-way conversation. It's me talking to you, the presenter talking to the audience. You can ask questions, but it's usually one way. In the hallway, it's unbelievable. I remember the one year I walked up and you were talking to Stu McGill, and Donnie Thompson walks up, and also Chris Duffin, and you wander in. And so you got 4 of the smartest brains, all from different fields. And you as an attendee, you can walk up and listen. If you're smart, you'll just listen. Try not to add things in. You'll get them. And that's where the information really comes from, because it's a two-way conversation. And it's the best of the best that actually converse in that. So those are the 5 streams that we're going to be running. And this will be, by far, I've been doing it for 20 years, the list of presenters, but also the facility and everything else and things that we have planned is just going to be over the top. So it'll be the best one that we've done over 20 years.
Also, Dr. Kinakin and Dave did something that I don't think it happened before. And if I heard the conversation right, you said that you guys are going to offer CEU, CME.
Yep.
You guys, so anybody out there that I know is always a pain in the butt to get, oh my God, I need my credits for next year. And everybody waits until the end of the year. This is the perfect time to do that. You can have CME. We have PhD, MDs, DCs, PTs. We're going to have everything there so you can get any type of credit that you need, which will allow you to save for the year. You know, you want to spend your money on something that is going to give you something back. This is it.
Yeah.
They're going to even offer prices. I was listening to Dave and Dr. Kinakin today. I'm going to put my name and sign for the VIP pass, if I get to spend the day with Dave, or I get to spend a day with whoever, it's going to be cool. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
The one thing that Ken just mentioned is the networking aspect. And we just spent an hour just brainstorming different ideas, because we want to take that and build out upon it. even more so, because for a lot of you guys, you're intimidated to walk up to somebody in the hallway and stuff like that.
Yes.
So we're going to make that more comfortable. We're going to build that into the symposium more so. And the reason I jumped on it is, you know, strength and conditioning, nutrition, you know, my end of this spectrum here. I've been to every clinic, symposium, whatever you want to call it, and SWIS is by far, and anybody that's been there will say the same. It kind of sucks over the past couple of years, because it's like this isn't what, you know, last year I think you did it virtually for free or something like that. It's like, this isn't what it is. It loses so much of that, and the networking, the relationship part of it's huge, and you're bringing in people of, I mean, how often, even if you go to, I don't want to mention some of the other, you know, bigger conferences, but if you go there, you're going to find a doctor, but is it a medical doctor? You see, so you're going to find therapists, but are they therapists or are they strength coaches that just took a certification?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, that was what's intriguing, because if I want to utilize, you know, I mean, you guys have been my, you know, small network of, you know, I get hurt. I mean, Eric's my doctor in full transparency. And if I fuck something up, I'm contacting you, you know, but your referrals are always strong. Everything's always strong, but you know, that's what you do, you know, 100% of the time. There's a lot of people that's, you know, quasi personal trainer therapists that are out there, but all they do is shit online, or they don't actually work on people all day long.
Right.
You know, I want people that are working on people all day long. Now, this is the only symposium where you have all that in one place. Yeah. And you get
this is real. This is going to be real. It's not internet. It's going to be right there. Yeah. You're going to be there. You know, this is only the only conference that I see people coming out of the room and they say, I want to get treated. Yeah. And there's going to be 3 different physical therapists out there. I'm going to give you the best option. Dr. Kinakin is saying he's a real doctor. He's a chiropractic doctor. Okay, let's establish that right now. He's not a real doctor, but I remember coming out of one year, and there's Dr. Leaf, and there's I can't remember, the one physical therapist, and there was the Dolphins. And in one freaking half hour of my time, I got treated by a chiropractor, which it made a massive difference. I go to the next table, and I get the Dolphins on my head, which they were making me sweat. Remember that? I'm sweating there. I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this. And here I am. I've been to every conference. I'm here learning stuff, not only on the lectures, but I'm actually experiencing, which you never see anywhere else. These are actually, you know, ideas, but they're also objective. And there's people actually doing what they're telling you they're going to do. They're going to show it. Even this year, Dr. Kinakin was talking to one of the MDs that is going to be at the SWIS, and they're planning to do shots, you know.
Yes, Jeremy.
So that is PRP. Insane that we're going to offer PRP. Your shoulder hurts, we're going to offer you PRP.
Well, not there. It'll be a demonstration.
There's going to be a demonstration, but I'm going to convince Jeremy German to say, hey, my shoulder hurts, come on, do mine. You know, but I think I want you guys to be aware that this is the only sports medicine conference in the world that it might give you something. Oh, I'm going to give you a lecture, but you actually experience what is happening on the lecture. You're going to go out there and you're going to see all those people training people. You're going to see people rehabbing people. You're going to see people with different commodities doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is insane. It's awesome.
Now, to give you guys a list of and these are verbal confirmations at this point. So this is the early bird special, right?
Exactly.
So, and we're putting that out there because we hope it sells out, right? That's kind of the whole deal. And we really think this will. Yeah. And the price increases as we get closer to the event. Exactly. That will be on the product page as you go there. And we're building out a more detailed product page. Right now, it's just basically a checkout page because it's early bird. We got a lot more work to do, which is why he was out here. So the people that I'm going to have you read off, because it's your writing, that we've have non-formal verbal commitments from we'll start with Chris Duffin, just confirmed with you while we were having that meeting. Yep. And then, you know, myself, you know, Ken Kinakin, and then Eric Serrano, and then
John Rusin, so he's coming. And then Bill Kazmar. I talked to Bill, so Kaz is coming. Ed Cohn has confirmed that he wants to come out. Victoria Felkar, so she's awesome as far as all the women's and hormonal. Jim Wendler, you had dinner with Jim, and Jim said that he's coming out. Mindy O'Brien, professional bodybuilder, physique, and by far the top posing person in the world. David Sandler, who's consulting everyone in the nutritional, but he's also a powerlifter. Matt Nickel, he's coming down from Toronto, one of the top strength coaches in Canada. Rick Collins, the lawyer, so some of the different distinctions on that. Dr. Dale Buckberger, he just confirmed yesterday as far as he's the top shoulder guy that I've seen. He's chiro and physio. Justin Kavanaugh, so he's going to come out with strength and speed. Brian Carroll, he said that he confirmed. Dr. Robert Silverman, super brilliant on functional medicine. JL Holdsworth, we got to have JL there. Douglas Heel, so he's has a style called Be Activated, and so I'm very excited to see what he has. Mike Israetel, I said he's confirmed. We talked to Dr. Jordan Moon yesterday, and so he's going to come out and present. Paul Gagne, he's one of the top strength coaches in Canada who deals with a lot of Olympic athletes. Very unique type of protocols. Dr. Jordan Shallow, I was training 2 weeks ago, and Jordan popped in and says, you got to come out. And he says, yeah, I'm going to try and make it out. Kelly Armstrong, who does the MPS Dolphins, which is the electroacupuncture and all the protocols for that. They have some unbelievable protocols now, especially for vagal treatment.
And TBIs, by the way.
Yeah. So a lot of concussion work. And the MPS Dolphins are the only units in the world that are approved by Health Canada for COVID-19, the treatment. And how that works is that it decreases the vagal tone, which decreases the cytokine storm that may happen around the lungs. So
don't come for treatment, please.
No, don't come for treatment. If you have COVID, don't come up. But yeah, that's how powerful these units are. We got Dr. Jeremy Gurman, who's going to be, we talked to him on the way down here. And so I asked him if it was okay for him to actually, we did this in 2015 with Douglas Stoddard, where he actually, under diagnostic ultrasound, he's going to find a patient and he's actually going to demonstrate a PRP injection, plasma-rich protein. As far as, it's fun to talk about it and show slides and maybe even a video. It's completely different than actually seeing it done in front of you and what it takes, and you can actually see the needle going in and how he's using the diagnostic ultrasound to actually hit the area. So you're going to see that live, which is incredible. Danny Lamattina, so she's coming out. She's going to be presenting. Owen Lacey from Ireland. We've got to have the Irish contingent come out. So he's always brilliant. And Joe DeFranco.
Yeah, Joe DeFranco.
Yeah, Joey's going to come. Chris Duffin has just confirmed with Eric.
Yeah.
And Matt Wenning.
Matt Wenning.
Yeah.
And then I got Sheena Leadham, who's going to speak on autism, fitness.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, so that's confirmed as well. And this is just
that is new to us.
That's new.
That is incredible that we're going to even include autism into our talks.
Yes, because it's everybody's having clients, patients that are dealing with that. So, the communication style, the fitness, and there's so much involved with that as well, that it's no longer a small demographic. It's a bigger demographic.
Growing.
So,
Yeah.
and aside from that, it's still better communication skills.
Yes.
Which kind of plays into everything. And this is, there's still more.
Well,
there's a lot more that
So I just read on the right-hand side, this is who we also have in mind.
Yes.
Should we talk about the panels?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Eric, you want to talk about John?
Well, this year has been a little hard for me. Actually, I lost a few patients. Some of them are well-known. And we decided that after speaking to the wife, we asked Mary Meadows if we can talk about John, right? And we decided to establish a panel for John Meadows. And the reason we decided to do that is because what he did for us. And we're going to have a few people that were very close to John present to the public out there what is the number one thing that John taught me about whatever. Life, bodybuilding, nutrition, whatever you want to talk about. And this panel is going to be people that were actually close to John. Actually, Mary accepted she's going to be there. Yeah. And which is amazing.
With the kids.
Which is amazing. So we can show the respect to his wife, the respect to the kids. So we can show what John actually did for the industry, which was a lot. And I know people are not aware of what happened or what's going on in the industry, but John left a huge hole in true bodybuilder, not only as a human being, but also as a competitor. And I think that by doing this, I think we're going to show the world who John Meadows was. And it's going to be very cool because it's going to be didactic but practical. We're going to show, hey, John did this for me. Hey, the best thing that I learned, bench press this way. Or I'm going to say this because I got to put Dave on the spot, of course, cattle rod.
Cattle prod.
Do a bench. You're not done yet. Let me poke you with the damn cattle rod. But, I mean, hopefully people will be there to learn. And this is going to be pretty awesome.
It'll be a nice homage. The other panel that we're going to do, and Dave, you want to talk about that? With Louis?
Yeah, we're going to do something kind of along the same lines with Louis. Just, what are some of the things that you learned from him? And this is, from the personal side. I mean, with both of these guys, there's a lot of personal lessons I've learned from them, but there's also a lot of practical strength and conditioning, and bodybuilding type lessons as well. So what I'm kind of hoping to see is when you have a panel of these people together, you're going to, obviously there's going to be, the more heartfelt things are going to come out, but then, why did Louis have this person squat this way? Well, why did he have you squat that way?
Right.
And then, well, he had me do this, he had me change my bench technique because both my pec majors are tore. So I had to change into, pushing and it talked a completely different pattern that the other guys weren't doing. Now you start stacking people up, and both of these guys were doing that with each person that they were working with. And then when you start putting them together, they'll remember, like, man, I never thought that's why he did that, or that's why he did that. When you put them together, that's going to, a lot of the training tips and stuff like that are going to be, they're going to be things that most of us just forgot about.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Because it just became, part of how we trained moving forward, just a routine, a habit per se, that just ingrained in those basic habits, those ingrained basic habits where a lot of coaches screw up, when they're working with other people because they don't know how to establish them. Or the longer somebody does something, you forget how to do some of the basic stuff,
Right.
And as you get beat up and stuff like that, you got to change things too.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but this will probably be the only time that a lot of the West Sides from generational will be on the same stage.
Probably.
And probably the last time.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that is very true.
So if you want to see the West Side people, this is going to be once in a lifetime, and we need to give homage to Louis and John. Definitely. I think this is the best way because, your motto is live, learn, and pass on, and that's what everyone wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's going to be amazing. Another panel we're going to do is a rehab panel where, everyone gets to experiment their different protocols on me, and you get to see in real life how it's actually done. Not talking about it, but very quickly. And we're going to have the steroid panel that we talked about before. We're going to reverse it where all of the different presenters, we just came up with this about an hour ago, that the presenters are actually going to, this is what I see as one of the problems, and this is something that I need to talk about, and we can have a discussion and build it all out. And we'll also have a treatment panel, so all the top doctors working on someone. We worked on Kaz the other time that Kaz came in and he couldn't raise his arm, and it was stuck because he's had many operations, and literally within 90 minutes we had 6 different doctors working on him, and he was able to raise it up, and he freaked out because he was like, how'd you guys do this? And so many different perspectives. If there's anything that you get out of this, it's not just one way. Everyone's trying to fit into, here's my box, here's my system, and everything else. And I've always gone by the adage, by putting on the symposium, everything works until it doesn't. And so find different tools, different methodologies, even if stuff looks weird and wacky and there's going to be a lot.
What did Dr. Wallace told you yesterday? Different routes to get where.
Yeah, so all roads lead to Rome. There's so many different ways to do it, but a lot of times we get stuck because we get stuck in our own paradigm, and we think that more is better. And it's like, no, you just need to change it, and maybe something else you've never even seen before. So that's the opportunity, and you get to see it done in real time. It's not bullshit. It's not anything. It's like, straightening it up right up front.
I'll take it a step further and say our own paradigm, but we also get stuck in our own biases.
Yes.
So if I come through a conjugate bias, everything I look at training wise, I know this it's through a conjugate, bias. Now, and when you get older and more experience, you start thinking, well, maybe I need to look at these other things. Now, I'm still going to pull it into my bias. But,
Absolutely.
But if you're not exposed outside of that, you know, to these other things. So what I've learned through my getting older is, you know, you're wrong a lot. You know, you're wrong way more times than you're right.
He points that out to me all the time.
But it is, you know, and if you might look at something and say, oh, that's complete bullshit.
Oh,
You know, but you should at least look and listen, because maybe something within that bullshit makes you remember something, or maybe it's not.
Yeah.
absolutely. Me and Dave used to have massive arguments in the office. Sometimes he would leave. No, that's bullshit. That's not a lie. And then later he'll go, maybe it was true. Or I did this. And then he would tell me stuff that like, what? I'm going to go try it too. So this is the place that you want to exchange ideas. This is the place that you don't have to be ashamed of going to a presenter and talk to the presenter, because we're going to tell the presenter, you got to spend time out there. You got to go and talk to the people. You want to do that. This is the first time ever you're going to have people that are, we even make the lectures so they're in earlier. So you can spend 30 minutes out there on the hall talking to those people that you want to talk to, which is never heard of.
No.
So that is the reason you must go. You want to really be somebody. You want to do something for yourself. You want to learn. This is the time to do it. Not through Zoom. It's being there so you have the interaction that you want to have.
I think another thing I saw recently, they did a documentary on Terry Todd, and I was really inspired. It was well done, and they had a number of different people, and it kind of made me reach out to Bill Kazmaier and say, you know what, I think, you know, you've been a legend, you know, in many ways, and let's do a documentary on you. And he's like, all right, yeah, well, that's fine. I reached out to Patrick Rivera, and he said, yeah. And then he reached out to ABC and seeing where that we can get the world's strongest man footage as far as building out this whole thing. They said, yeah, and there's going to be a cost to it. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be interviewing different presenters there for Kaz's documentary. So this is going to be a movie that we're going to make about Kaz, and we're going to be doing B-roll. We're also going to allow the people, so if Kaz has inspired you at all to show up and learn and lift, and, you know, in any way, you know, at one of the symposiums, Ed Cohn said the reason why I'm powerlifting is because of Kazmaier. I saw Kaz, you know, and I went, holy shit. So we're going to set up, you know, a separate area that you can do a 3-minute, 5-minute, you know, this is what it meant, you know, what
This
Kaz
is your
did.
chance to be in a movie actor.
This is your chance to be in
To
a
me,
movie.
if you're there present, this is the chance that you might, hey, I made a difference. I make a statement. I'm in the movies.
And you can contribute as far as, you know, you can inspire someone else, you know, through that. And especially through Kazmaier, what he's done for everyone. So, and it'll be amazing. So if you want to be in a movie, that's one of the things. Not saying you will be, but at least there's the potential of it.
Yeah, I think the biggest overarching thing here, and it's, you may not know as much as, you know, some of the other ones have talked about this. I mean, we've been trying to get you to do this in the United States for 20 freaking years now. It's like, this would do so much better if it was in the U.S. So much better, because, you know, so many people are traveling there. Well, now it's kind of a pain in the ass to travel there anyway.
Yeah.
But it's
Now there's going to be more booths too. So you're going to be more areas that you can go check out things, which is, well, it's better than Canada. What can I say? It was time, man. I used to give a crap about this.
I know.
Oh my God, we have to go there.
it's like, can you just bring it to Buffalo at least, you know?
Yes. But
No, it's amazing, and you know, the three of us have been chatting, and we don't just want this to be educational, because you can get that online. Our focus 100% is, how do we make this experiential? How do you make this a great experience? You know, that, you know, you're not going to experience online or anything else, but you're going to meet so many different people.
something else I want to add, we have a little spy named Anthony Castori, you know, and Anthony likes to eat at Eastern. I said, Anthony, can you get us a deal? And he said, you know what, I'm going to work my butt off on that. So you not only be able to eat on that area, you might get 1% off.
Yeah.
We don't even know what percent you're going to get off. But you have every single restaurant you can think about, it's there. I don't care whether you are Chinese, I mean, Puerto Rican, you have any cuisine that you can think of, it's going to be on that mall.
Yeah, so we're going to hold it October 28, 29 at the Easton Hilton. It's in the Easton Mall area, which is just sort of northeast of Columbus.
4 minutes
Yeah.
from the airport.
Unbelievable.
You have no excuse.
Yeah.
You can actually, I think Anthony said, oh, you want to do aerobics? You can walk to the airport from the hotel. So
The other cool part, so we just we're at Lifetime Fitness, which is just down the street. John used to train there all the time.
that is correct.
It's a 7-minute walk from the hotel through everywhere. They just said that they can probably give us free passes to go train there. And the other one is Whole Foods just up the street. That's another
That's
7-minute
5
walk.
minutes,
so
7 minutes,
people
yeah.
that are worried about food and where am I going to get it, and I'm on a special diet. You got the biggest organic
Trader
superstore.
Joe's is 5 minutes from the hotel.
Yeah, P.F. Chang's is across the street.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to P.F. Chang's before I'm going to Trader Joe's. I'm telling you that right now.
I just say, well, here we go, the power lifter mentality.
Yeah.
We, the healthy people, would like to be, walk a little more, but no. That's
It's
all.
chicken and rice.
I am looking forward to sitting. That's another thing. We're working on this deal, so you can go sit down and you'll be eating there. And all of a sudden, you're going to see all these presenters sitting there, which sit down, enjoy it,
Yeah.
talk to them.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. We have a lot of alpha males and alpha females, especially in the presenters. So we deal with a lot of huge egos. The cool part is everyone leaves their ego at the door.
That is correct.
You can't be, if you think that you know a lot and then you run into Stu McGill, talking about back, you know what, don't. Or if you think that, your 400 bench is, phenomenal and you walk around with a lat spread and Kazmar walks around the corner, it's like, yeah, the lats drop. So everyone is so open. They're so approachable. Over the years, we don't allow any chuckleheads to present. And so people that were difficult in the past, we just don't invite them because it changes the entire environment. So people are approachable, they're fun, they're more than willing to sit and chat with you. I mean, Eddie, you shocked me in 2016 because he presented on the Friday, and on the Saturday, Wendler was there and Eric was presenting and everything else. You grabbed a chair and you plunked it in the middle of someone else's
Yes.
booth, and you sat there all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, Dave, aren't you going to? He says, no, I'm here to talk to everyone. I went, what? So you made a conscious decision to talk to everyone because he says, I can see everyone. He says, I already kind of know what they're going to say, but you want to talk a little bit
It
about
was a
that?
competitor. I saw it was one of your competitors when you sat there.
That
and
was
started
CanFit.
talking to-
It was CanFit Pro.
That's
their
right,
booth,
that's
yeah.
right.
It does. I mean, the way that I kind of look at it, if I'm invited to an event like that, is that I'm here for that event. Basically, I'm working for the event. So
Thank you.
if I'm there, then what else am I here to do? Network with people, and I'll even tell people I already know. Look, I'm not being standoffish to you, like say Jim and some of those other people.
Yeah,
I can talk to you
JL,
anytime. These people don't ever get a chance to talk to me. So yeah, maybe I'm going to blow you off a little bit, but I want to make sure that these people get, their questions answered.
Their
Yeah,
chance.
And
their
that's
chance.
just, I've always kind of been that way because I do understand that most of that happens in the hallways, but I also understand just from my own history of going to these things, Eric, I'm very introverted, right?
That is very true.
Look, the podcast is where in the middle of a gym,
Right.
I mean, this is where I feel most comfortable. And I think of how many other people that are going there are like I was. No way was I going to go, wait in line. I'm not going to wait in line to talk to anybody coming off stage anyhow, but I'm certainly not going to do that. But if there's somebody sitting there,
Right.
especially, then I got to be there for those people because the other people that are more extroverted, they're just going to go take right advantage of that.
Right.
Where I don't want to say I don't really care that much about them, but I care more about the introverted ones because they're the ones that really, they're there to learn, but all they're going to really take away is whatever is presented and then the notes and then walk away.
Right.
So that's just how I've always been and how I always feel. Now, if they have a chair open, I'm just going to take that. I don't care where I'm sitting.
Right.
I'm just going to sit there. And then if I have dinner with, some of the other presenters, that's fine. But I'd rather sit there for bored, for an hour. I mean, okay, I'll go back to my room now. Then just go straight back to my room.
Yeah.
which most presenters usually do.
They don't at SWIS though.
I know.
Because
They
you know
all
what? It's kind of like, it's a reunion. Everyone's
Oh no, you
it's
can say,
home
Dave,
week.
you said that. What is this crap? I want to know what that means. Or even, and also is one of the few actually seminars that the presenters go to the other presenters'
Yes.
lectures.
Yes.
You really see that. I see Dave Tate walking into my lecture. I go, oh crap, he's going to ask something that I do not want to answer.
I become the target of whatever. you're
Yes,
talking
that is
about.
true though. But it's also, I remember Ian Keane asking me a question, which most presenters will never do that with other presenters. And here they are. They walk in the room, they're going to ask you a question. Matt Nichols in the room, and he raises his hand, and he says,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's going to ask a question. And that's what it makes it so much fun. Here, the different ideas, there's no egos. You're going to answer it, and you're going to be toasty if you answer it the wrong way,
Yeah.
which
And
I
you
love.
you may get challenged.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
You know,
that's what
and you may
is-
get challenged, and
yes.
that's nice because
Yes.
I don't mind being challenged because maybe I'll just say, you know what, look, this is just how I've always done it. I'm not sitting here telling you that this is fact, but it's how I've always done it. Because he may say this is bullshit, and then tell you why.
Yeah.
Yes.
And great, maybe you're wrong. Especially in the nutrition side and stuff like that. Sometimes people need to be challenged a little bit.
I remember when in one of the practical lectures, I was making my daughter do an exercise, and somebody raised their hand and said, oh, she was holding the table. That's why she can do that. And I said, you know what? You are correct. You open your mouth. Come over here. He found out pretty quickly he was not holding the table. It was just that he was weak, right? And she was strong. And that's when people start applauding because you make it fun. You make it interesting.
It's got to be fun.
Yes, yes.
That's the only reason why I do it. So yeah, October 28, 29, Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be an incredible experience. The hotel has given us a great deal. Normally the rate right now, it's at $239. They've given us $50 off, so it's only $189. If that, and they own all the other hotels in the area, and they're all the other same prices. So if you go, well, I'm going to go just down the street, it'll be cheaper. You know what? You're not going to get a cheaper hotel. You're going to get free parking. You're going to get access to so many different things. There's
22 theaters? How many, Anthony? How many theaters are in Easton? 24 theaters.
24
So if
theaters.
you want to see, I don't care what movie, you haven't seen it, it is there.
Yeah.
It's going to be there.
Yeah.
When you're speaking is when I'm going to the movie.
Actually, I'm going to remind me, Dave, of that comment.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got great price on the hotel, and if that's too expensive, what I've done in the past for certain, and we'll set it up, is at a room share. So
Oh, that's
all of
right,
a
I forgot about
sudden,
that.
so 189 turns into $90 a night in one of the top hotels in the world. That's going to be unreal. We're starting out with the super duper early price here. So at the door is $699. We're giving you 45% off, and it's only $399 US at the door plus taxes. So, or right now, and I think they're gonna
Yeah,
post
the link is in the bio for that.
Yeah, the
You know,
link
so
will be
that's
in
there.
the bio. So huge discount, and it will literally be the event.
Or excuse, the link is in the description. And they know what I mean, but I just said the wrong. The description of the video, if you're watching here on YouTube, if it's the podcast that you're listening to, it is the description of the podcast.
Yeah, so it's going to be there. Please sign up. It will, and people always think of fear of missing out. Yeah, this one is reality because there's a lot of presenters that are, we don't know when we'll be able to get them again, and when we'll actually even do the symposium again. So it's been 4 years, and depends on how often that we actually do it and everything else. So yeah, this is
To me, this is a must-have because
Yeah.
I've been to every one except two, and those are outside of my control as to
Yeah.
why I couldn't
Yeah.
get to those two.
Yeah.
And everyone since Eric said you have to go do
Yes.
this, and then it was one of the best things I ever did, to be honest. So I would say it's definitely a
and
must-have.
I'm honored that you're going to do this with me. You're basically the only person that
Yeah.
I would allow, just because we're on the same page. We run the businesses the same as that. It's for the person. This
You
isn't
two
for the
run
money.
the business. I gotta say something here.
Oh no.
That's what we need. That's what we need. A lady named Tracy. These two people here on this table. Oh my God, they run the business. Oh yeah, let's do that. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Let's go for it. Forget whatever we have to plan. When we get there, we plan it then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, we have Tracy, because that really helps.
Voice of reason.
Yes, it is.
Do you have this? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. There's checks and balances for it all, most definitely.
Absolutely.
But we're on the same page as far as the experience that needs to be
Yes.
provided.
Yeah.
We're not looking at this, as how is the best way to maximize profit. We actually, the discussions we've had is how can we do this and not lose money.
Right.
We'll worry about the rest later.
That is very true.
But that's what I think you're talking about, is a mutual type thing. Is best experience, don't lose money.
Yeah.
Kind of go from there. Yeah. I do have some questions for you guys that came through, the YouTube and the Instagram. And the first one I'm going to throw out is, and it's kind of a two-part question, but in therapy and rehab, how important is the mental side? Just going through, they're hurt post-surgery, whatever it is. So the actual rehab section, how important is the mental side of that? And then let's say that's the first part. The second part of the question is, now they're physically fine. They're physically okay, but they're mentally not back. What are the strategies? How do you help them to get mentally back to be able to push? Assuming that this is somebody that training's a top 3 or 4 priority, it's not your Gen Pop person.
Okay. You want to start, and then I'm going to jump in.
I'm going to start first because actually I'm experiencing this. Recently, actually for the past 7 months, I can't even tie my left, and Dave can relate to this. I cannot tie my left shoe. I have shoes that don't have tights, shoelaces, because I cannot tie it. Now, Ken came here last month and helped me treat it, which make me, actually, believe it or not, you guys are going to laugh, to put my underwear on before Ken was at my house, I have to lay down and put my leg on their underwear, on the left leg. Now, at least I'm able to stand up and put my underwear on. And mentally, I know what I need to do. Mentally, I should do this and this and this, but I'm not. What I'm doing is I'm waiting for Ken to come over and treat me so I can feel better. So I have all the tools, but I'm not using it because mentally I'm not ready. So to answer the question for Dave is 90%, I know I might have an injury, but 90% is mental. 90% is me willing to do what I need to do to get there so I can get better. And they will call me a pussy right now, and I admit it, I am. And it's just because I can do what I like to do. So my biggest thing is being on the office and seeing patients. My hip doesn't bother me. I can sit on a chair. I don't worry about it. I love training police dogs. That's my hobby. Well, I can catch a dog still. Now, can I run now and catch and fall? Maybe I'm not. I haven't had to do that, but if I have to do it, I'm going to find out that I cannot do it. Then I might say, oh my God, I better get cranky. I will say this. Any rehab person, I would say is only 60 to 70% always mental. The other 30% is the physical component. Why? I see it every day, all the time. And people that you can actually solve their physical problems, they don't solve it because there's a mental component to it. And I might be wrong, but I want to hear what Dr. Kinakin says.
I agree. I worked in a chronic pain clinic for 5 years with 13 medical doctors. And what happens is there's actual structural changes in the prefrontal cortex if you've had pain for longer than 6 months. So it actually, you become super sensitized. The best way I can explain it, if you get sunburnt and you go out in the sun, you're more sensitive. And it's the same thing with the brain. The brain basically perceives the pain. So not only are you perceiving it in the brain, but now you emotionally and identity-wise become a victim, and we call it a victim archetype. And what that is that you have
bingo.
You have this mentality. This is your identity. I have fibromyalgia. I have chronic shoulder pain. So when patients come in and they say they've been in a car accident and they're
feel
hanging
sorry
on
for
to
myself.
They hanging on the steering wheel and it drives it back. And they come in, they can't raise their arm. I muscle test them. It's weak. It's a mess. I treat him with chiropractic, percussion, laser, acupuncture, ART. I do everything. Literally within about 2-3 weeks, I'm able to get their shoulder range of motion back. When they're testing it, they go, I'm testing it. It's stronger. And I asked them, I said, how are you feeling? It's the same. I go, what? He says, yeah, it's the same. And I went, but you can raise up your arm and you have strength. Yeah, but it still bugs me when I bring it back here. And I'm like, holy moly. So I have to get them to emotionally and verbally say, I want you to give me a balanced answer. What's improved and where do you still have pain? So when they come in, so what's improved? And they're like, well, I can do this. Because they normally come in, it still bothers me if I'm, and weight training people are the worst, because guy that benches 400, all of a sudden he's down to about 200 and it's painful. And so I do all my work and we get the strength back and they have full range of motion. It doesn't hurt after a few treatments. What do? They go back and test it. I'm going to see how strong I am before it actually is painful again. No, the best thing you could ever do is train it. Stay with 2, go to 225, go to 250. Don't put 350 on to see whether or not it hurts. Guess what? It will. So one of the things you need to do is mentally, emotionally get them to literally, because with chronic pain, one of the things is that you take on this identity and you want to be able to shift that identity, that you're telling the body a command. If you tell it, I'm still in pain, guess what? You're still going to be in pain. The tissue's healed a long time ago. But if you continually tell yourself that, you're in pain. So I say, you know what, give me balance. This is improved, this hasn't. And I get them to say, yes, I'm improving. I'm in decreased pain. So the body starts listening mentally, emotionally, and try and break that victim archetype. I had one patient, I don't know if I told you this story. A patient came in, she was in a car accident, and she had pain. And literally within about a month, we were able to get it out of it. But in that month, everyone was paying attention to her. It was like, oh, do you want me to do this for you? Do you want me to do this for you? So then she was like, oh, I'm getting attention, I'm getting love, I'm getting all this, everything else. As she was getting better and better, less and less. So she got another car accident. And then I had to fix her again. And another car accident. And I kept telling her, I said, what are you doing? Because she caused them all. It wasn't someone hitting her. She was doing it. 13 car accidents. Because that was the only way that she got attention. So if you can break that pattern of, listen, I am getting better, and this is what I actually want. The other thing is this unit here. This is called the MPS Dolphin. And for people that are in chronic pain, mentally, emotionally, the only way you can actually change the brain is by actually treating the system, the input. So it can either be through the ear, you can do it through the eyes, you can do it through the nose, something structural. But the ear has the strongest impact to change the brain. So PTSD, concussion, been able to, TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, we've been able to treat this, and they have a number of other papers. And it's called battlefield acupuncture. And it's 5 points on the ear. And why the ear? I could never figure out. I took a year-long course on ear acupuncture because part of the cranial nerves, the nerves that actually, it's not going down the body in like normal acupuncture, nerves that actually from the brain innervate the actual ear. The biggest one is the vagus nerve, the anterior area. So actually, can I just show, yeah. So Eric, just take off your headphones. Will you be able to see this?
I can see his head.
Okay. So, can I?
Let me move back.
No. So I just want to be able to see. So there's 5 points that I want to show. So we want to go down to point 0. So all it is this one, and it's on a negative polarity, and we would just hit that point, and you do that for about 30 seconds. And then you go up to another point, it's called Shen Men. You do that for 30 seconds. Then you go up to omega 2, which is underneath the earlobe here. And then you go down to the cingulate gyrus, which is right here, and you would do that for 30 seconds. And then you would go on top, which is called the thalamus, right there. And you do that for 30 seconds. The impact on this is unprecedented. I've been treating people with vertigo. I've been treating people with chronic pain. I was just at a seminar.
By the way, you can treat ringing in the ears with that.
Ringing in the ears, tinnitus. The other one is zinc. You can also utilize. But this is such a powerful, it's the MPS Dolphin. and it is an incredible unit. So the person they're going to be presenting at SWIS, but for scars, incredible. I've been able to make scars disappear. Breaks all rules as far as physiology and everything else. But with some of the patients, all of a sudden, number one, you deactivate scars. So anytime that you have a cut, that can actually inactivate the muscle. So you need to treat the scar. The scar can also be by a contusion. So we see this with football
By the
players.
way, one easy way to test this little thing, which is impressive. The first time that Dr. Kinakin treated me, my heart rate was, I think, 82 or something like that. He treated me with that crap, and I'm thinking, oh my God, here we go again with this bull crap, DC crap. My heart rate was 61. Remember, it dropped 20
dropped in
points
5 minutes.
In 5 minutes, I didn't do anything. I was sitting there, and I can feel my heart rate going down and down. Like, what is going on? To the point that I said, you need to check my heart rate, and it was 20 pounds less just doing that little machine.
Yeah, it's powerful. So it's another tool that you can utilize to try and break that pattern of the mental and emotional, and you need to access the brain to all of a sudden rewire the brain. And yeah, this
Now,
is my go-to.
I want to ask a question because Dave has a lot of experience with injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You're the best sample of this. Dave, not only one, not only two, not only three, 4 different times. You have to back off totally to restart again.
Yes.
How do you do it mentally?
Good question.
Well, I first want to comment on what you're saying about people changing their identity for that.
Yeah.
With that injury, because I run into that if I'm trying to help somebody with a seminar with their bench press or whatever it is. So that I always miss halfway up. Like always? Yeah, always. I always miss halfway up. So when you do the bar, you miss halfway up. When you do your warm-up reps, you miss halfway up. But out of a whole training session, you miss maybe 1 rep out of hundreds. But you always, because of the narrative,
Right.
they're reinforcing that narrative. I always miss,
Good point.
So that connection was like a light bulb, went there, because I will tell people my shoulder's frozen. Now, I have certain, you see what I'm saying? So now I'm like, no, wait a minute. It's getting better, it has gotten better, but I also did change my narrative as soon as it started to get better. It's getting better. You see what I'm saying? So it changed that to, so that's a huge thing. Now, as far as, hip replacements and stuff like that, I'm probably not the best example here, right? Because,
Yes.
When I was still competing, I was very aggressively, going through injuries. And the problem that I had was having people I'll do dumb shit, but I also have people out as sounding boards, right? So some of the dumb things I'm doing, Mike Hope used to be a physical therapist with Buddy Morse a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
He was Bengals consultant. So I'd run the ideas by him, off the record. He's I don't know, but if you want to, so it's not the smartest thing in the world, but it may work. Will you lose that, because of liability and all this other kind of crap, So for me, it's like, I'm no longer in a rush, to try to come back from anything. And George Halbert once told me at Westside, after rushing things a few times, he's like, how much sooner do you really think you got from that? 2 weeks?
George Troy has great little statements.
2 weeks. Like, you went from 10 weeks to 8 weeks. Like, you couldn't just take the extra 2 weeks, and so that makes sense. But I never really identified, outside of the shoulder, because it retired me from the sport. But all the other stuff, it was a torn adductor or whatever it was. I'm more concerned with why. Like, why did this happen? I want to know, first off, I want to know what's the extent. That's the first thing. Is this a tear? That's where Dr. Gilman with the ultrasound is amazing, because I want to know, is this detached? Is it not detached? Because that changes everything, right? One of them's like contacting you. The other one's like contacting you. I'm still contacting both, but it's like, what the hell? And then why? Because sometimes they're just out of nowhere. It's never out of nowhere. There's something. It's either overuse, something led to
Balance,
that.
whatever.
Imbalance.
Stress, whatever it's going to be. What is it? And I'm not the guy who's going to say, oh, I was dehydrated. Like, come on. It's more than that.
Actually, now that you're saying that, Dave, I just read a study that was, I can't remember who gave me the study. I think it was Dr. Mann, in which showing how injuries are worse during the final test in a school year. When they're finals, there are more people getting hurt on the weight room.
Yeah.
Even though they were doing the same, they're getting hurt more in the weight room because they're finals.
Yes.
Which is insane. 37%, which is not a little increase, is that much. He said because the volume increased. No, nothing changed in the weight room. It was happening outside of the weight room that affected them in the weight room.
Yes, and I totally 100% believe, because even my own training, it's very phasic, so it's during high work times, like end of Q1. Q1's not really that stressful. That's when I have my strength phase. Then during, Q4, it's stressful. So then that's more a longer hypertrophy type thing. So I try to build the prevention into it to begin with. But then after it happens, is, what is it?
Yes.
What's the extent of it? Then what's the main treatment plan? Because as long as it's inflamed and bruised and 3 times the size, there's not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
But that's where I need, like you guys, that's where I need the help. Like, is this something that I should move? Or is this something, because that could just put more fluid in there? Yeah. Or is this something that I need to address differently? Elevation, vibration, something to get that out. Yeah. That one I think people would need help with, right? Because there's a lot of compounding variables that can play into that. Now, once it starts getting there, obviously it's increased forward. See, even as I'm speaking now, I'm not saying, there's the plan. You increase the full range of motion, you start getting blood in that, you get it back to what it needs to be, you strengthen the endpoints of the range of motion, then you start going, but you don't mentally. And one thing, and this is probably not the best advice, but when I was competing, and I would probably still do so now, being conjugate, I still do max effort, even if it's, a week after surgery, I still do it, because it might be reverse band with the bar, right? But I'm forcing, and it may be a board, but I'm forcing as hard as I can.
It's a max effort for that situation, by the way.
Yes, for that situation. Yes, for that situation. Now, I couldn't load more anyhow, right? But it is that situation, because the way I always thought of it, and this goes way back, I need to start straining ASAP.
Yep.
And it's easier to do that with 45 pounds, 95 pounds, and 135. And then going through this big, long protocol, going through a training, and everything's going well. And say I tore my pec with 405 or whatever it was. As soon as I get back to that 405, I'm going to be thinking, oh shit,
I'm going to tear again.
I haven't really strained yet. Now I'm coming right back to what I strained before. Now I've already strained with 45 pounds, 65 pounds, all these other things. And it could be super slow tempo. Just mentally, I want to push through and say, okay, it didn't come undone, but it's not. You say, and if you start it soon enough, even there's doctors here, so I can say whatever I want, right? If you start it soon enough, even if you still have the anesthesia in your system, you're going to be even more weak, because that shit, not for me, it knocks me out. I mean, sometimes it's bad, so then I'll get on a machine and I'm pushing no weight, but I'm pushing as hard as I can. Mentally, it's that.
You need to do it.
Yeah, that helped, a lot.
And I think also, you're becoming an active participant, and you're not going to fall into that victim archetype. Oh, look what the bench did to me, and you're going to become afraid of it. Screw it.
That ain't fucking me. I mean, I'm not wired that way. That's why I'm the wrong person to ask.
That's why.
You all know that. I'm
going to bench. Period.
Yes. I mean, so you guys are the ones that got no diet. I'm like I said, I'm not the right person to ask that way. But I do know that most people are not like that.
But they can become. And it's basically understanding that try and get back onto the horse as fast as you can.
Yeah.
You know what? Even if it's a broomstick, just start using a broomstick. Just start getting through that range of motion. And there's a unit I just found a couple of weeks ago. This
is freaking cool.
It's a Bluetooth force transducer. So I can actually measure. The problem with muscle testing is that it's a yes/no thing. It's a qualitative test. It doesn't really mean anything. It's like, okay, it's weak. How much? I don't know. This one, I can actually measure the amount of force that I'm using. So with Eric, on his left shoulder, I showed him yesterday, and it's Bluetooth to my phone. So it'll show the amount of force. And Eric also has, the brachial plexus, a neck problem. So I tested it. On the right side, it was 36 pounds. On the left side, it was 18 pounds as force before his arm went down. We used 31 pounds, I think, on the right, and it stayed up. Basically, just worked on the neck area a little bit, and all of a sudden it was up to 36 because it was, being inhibited neurologically. But now we can actually measure it, and this may be something that we can utilize. They just came out with another one. It's called Active Force.
You have to come to a SWIS.
Yeah. We're going to be demonstrating.
You got to come to a SWIS.
But this thing also, they just put in, you'll be able to test your range of motion.
grip forces, which are part of
Yeah,
freaking
grip
athlete
force.
heart
Yeah,
attack.
you were playing
Yes.
around with it. Yeah, number one mortality is grip force decrease. So great unit that you can utilize. But again, it's just starting out light, repatterning the brain so you're not afraid of benching, because that's what happens. People start buying into being afraid.
Yeah, no, just to circle back, so my way doesn't sound reckless. You know, I'm very diligent about it. So the tempo is very.
You're
very,
reckless, though.
well, the point I will be, but the tempo is very tight, very controlled. And let's say the first exercise is a machine press. My feet are dug in the ground. My quads are flexed. My ass is flexed. Everything is braced. Everything is tight, except the movement that just had the work done. Right? So why should I lose? You know, I can keep all the isometric strength, all the other strength throughout that movement. Only one thing is messed up. You know, whatever they operated on. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever up and downstream. But all this isn't.
And you can still just do an isometric. You know, if you start going through range of motion, you got staples in, probably don't do that because they may pop out.
Well, I'm talking the rest of the body, though. You know, so all those other, because normally if they're injured, they're just going to sit on and then just go through it. Well, what if you were doing a max set, even of 8 to 10 reps, this shit would be braced and tight. So why are you still not doing that?
Right. That's great advice.
Right. So all that, because I think they forget. They do think I'm injured.
What Dave says is learn from the mistakes
Yes.
that you made before, so you don't repeat it again.
Yes.
That's why you'll be able to do what you were not doing before, doing it better now. And that's really important, which people do not do at all.
Yes.
I'm going to do it again, and they don't even think about what they were doing when it happened, which they should.
Because not everything is injured, and that's where that identity kind of comes in. If they think I'm injured as a whole,
Right.
it's your shoulder's messed up or your biceps tendon's messed up. To jump into the next question here, I'm going to go to how to implement the sleep. Right, a lot of questions are how do you improve your sleep, and they're like, look, they get the cold room and the dark and all the other kind of stuff. So we'll jump right to
The biggest freaking thing I see with sleep: leave your freaking phone, TV, computer, iPad out of the freaking room. As soon as you walk into that room where the bed is, you're walking for a purpose, either sex or go to sleep. You don't need your TV. You don't need your phone. You don't need your iPad. You don't need your computer. Please shut them down. Now, do not do it 30 minutes before. I will say an hour before you're going to go to bed, I see the best results. That's number one. Number two, if you have a conflict, try to resolve it before you go to bed so you can sleep better, so that conflict doesn't eat you alive, because it will sit down on your mind and it will eat you alive. Try it, of course, not every time you can do that. If you're married, you need to talk it out before. But I think it's very important that you worked out that conflict, because when you go lay down, it's going to be eating your mind away. You need to work on that. 3, this is going to sound weird, pray. Praying does amazing for that person that is looking for what we always want, peace. And I know that people don't understand that, but I'm one of those that sometimes I sit there and thinking about stuff. I say, hey, I got to go pray. And I completely pray, and I don't even know what I was thinking about. So be aware. Those are 3 little points that I just want to give, because I know Ken has more answers. But those are very, very important. Most of the people that I see in my office that I cannot sleep because they, especially, and I'm not making this up, if I ask 100 women, what are you thinking about when you go to bed? The laundry was not done. I'm not lying. In top 5. Why, is the laundry going to walk away tomorrow, you know? I know it's going to be there, and it might be more tomorrow. Don't worry about that, but be aware of those little things, and I hope that helps some.
I think one of the biggest things that I've seen dealing with patients is that they have, if you've ever had a computer screen with 30 different windows open, and it slows down and it's working harder, and the CPU, and it's heating up and everything else, because you have too many windows open. When I'm talking to people, I can usually see whether or not they're actually even listening, because most people have between, and I've been asking people all the time, how many conversations are you having all at the same time? You know, it's usually between 3 to 6. So they may be listening to me, but not really actively. And so they don't know how to shut their brain down. The number one thing I use,
I'll tell you have something in there.
oh yeah,
is this. Dave has it. I've seen Eric write. I was just at Eric's place, and he pulls out the pad of paper. But literally everything that I have about the symposium, about my fears, about ideas, about where I'm going to be going and how, my seminars. Number one thing I do whenever I go to a seminar is, who do I want to meet and what's the one question I want answered? And usually everyone shows up that way. So many people, and the problem that you have, if you have something on your mind and you need to talk, most people don't give what is known as psychological air. Stephen Covey from 7 Habits talks about that, where you need to get it out. The problem with men is we're solution focused. And John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, he did a year-long research. The average time that if a woman starts talking about a problem, the average time that a man jumps in to give the solution
10 seconds
is 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Is 15 seconds. So this is the best thing that I've ever done, because I mean, most people, I have good friends and we've had some amazing conversations, you know, just always talking about our wins, our fears, our, you know, everything else that we have. Men are usually not the best to listen to or have that capacity. And me being in the health business, I'm trained to sit there and just shut up and listen. I think physicians and chiropractors, we're the same, that within 15 to 30 seconds, we interrupt the patient and start giving different ideas versus let them talk. They will tell you, number one, they'll tell you the diagnosis. Number two, they'll tell you where to treat. If you sit there and listen to them and they go, I have all these headaches and I don't know what's going on, and they'll go like this, and I says, I really don't know what's going on. I go, do you get neck pain? Yeah, how'd you know? You just pointed to it. So this is phenomenal. I write every night. Everything that's bugging me, I do a download into my book. Therefore, I don't have to think about it. But at the end, I'm also asking a question. What's the question to solve that actual problem? The second thing is what Eric talked about. You know, I have a certain process I go through in the morning to try and make it really good for myself, but also my patients, and how to show up every day, especially in these weird times. But also at the end, also in here, they call it a grateful journal, in a sense of, what are you happy about? Like, I mean, I ate with Eric, you know, last night. We went to the sushi restaurant. We started out with a prayer. And, you know, he's very helpful, just saying different things about the family. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. But anyways, the last thing would be melatonin. Do you want to talk about that? Because you educated me a lot about the dosage and how much you can actually use.
Dave makes fun of me all the time about my accent, right? What do you say? Say it in English, right? And this happens actually 13 years ago. I had a patient that I said, you need to take melatonin. He couldn't sleep. He had tried every single drug. He has CPAP. He had tried everything. And I said, you know, you need to take, I can't remember what number I said to him. Sending home, this patient called me 3 days later and said, Eric, I had my best sleep ever. I feel amazing. I said, okay. And I said, what do you do? I said, I did what you told me. How many milligrams of melatonin do you take? He said, I took what you told me. I said, and I didn't, you know, I don't have the chart from me. How much did I tell you? 80 milligrams.
Wow. What is the normal that people take?
3 milligrams. So here I am like, what? I didn't say 80 milligrams. I said, Serrano, I was listening to what you said. You said 80 milligrams. Here I'm like, and then there was not that much research out, right? And like, well, you know, now that you sleep, let's lower the dose. Let's go to 60 tomorrow, and the next day to 40, and then you call me. 3 days go by, he calls me. Serrano, screw you. I'm sticking with my 80 milligrams. I go, why do you say that? He said, it does not work. At 80 milligrams, I sleep. Since then, the research has come out how melatonin prevents breast cancer, brain cancer, colon cancer, how it helps you to prevent metastasis. Now, the research is amazing. Now, also in the research now recently, there's a threshold. Actually, there are some people that respond negatively to melatonin, meaning that if I take 3 or 5 milligrams, I'm awake. I do not know what it is. If I take 3 to 5 milligrams of melatonin, I'm awake. I'm physically awake. I cannot sleep. I think actually better, so it is crazy. So I start looking into literature, and what happens is there's some people, and I think Dr. Rakowski presented this.
Rakowski,
He said, take 3 milligrams every 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I said, how stupid can... He's a chiropractor. What does he know, right? And it's called Rob is right again. I hope he's listening. And I said, crap, I'm going to go beyond that. And actually, I found out that the threshold dosages are between 3 and 12 milligrams. So you need to take 3. If you don't sleep, go up to 6, go up to 12. And at 12, you don't need. That means that you reach 12 milligrams is what I see. That is the reach threshold. Above that, you start inducing some sleep. I see something happening. Now, melatonin is such a great, wonderful supplement that the FDA is actually, I got a letter from the FDA, they're going to try to pull it out.
Wow.
So
because it works.
As soon as something works, that and NAC is going to be pulled out. Actually.
NAC. Wow.
NAC, they're really,
assistant.
actually, it's not sold in Amazon anymore because the FDA is actually really working on pulling that out too. So if you're going to buy melatonin, now there's 2 types of melatonin. I do want to make sure that you guys understand that. There's one that is sustained release and there's one that is immediate release. If you have issues falling asleep, use the immediate release. If you have issues staying asleep, you might want to take one that is constant release. Now, there's some companies out there that have both immediate release and a constant release. One of them is Zymogen. And if you want to order it, it's 1-800-647-6100. Code Batman. No, I don't make any money. I'm just telling you, order it. And you can order that. Has a combination, immediate release and constant release. It's pretty awesome. It works very well. I don't own the company. I'm just telling you it works. There's other companies that now are coming with it. But I would say the FDA is working on pulling it out of the market.
One of the other questions, and this is, it's not really a question, it's a discussion that I have with a lot of people, is how do you build a relationship with a practitioner or a doctor, right? Because a lot of doctors are going to look at a lifter and say, it's just a stupid fucking meathead. And sometimes it's true, right? And a lot of the meatheads are going to look at the doctor and say, well, he doesn't know shit.
Stupid pencil.
He doesn't know anything, right? So, and a lot of times, people just think they can go to the doctor and get written prescriptions for whatever it is, but there's a relationship that has to be built. Yeah. And there's issues on both sides, right? So it's, their question is, how do you build that relationship? If first off, they have to do their due diligence. They have to find a good physician or, practitioner. Right. That's on them, right? That's not on, that's just how it is. How do they go about doing that? Ask around, and you can't just, I don't want to go on a rant. You can't wait until you blow a pec out or blow a knee out, and then you go to ER. And then when you're in ER, they're going to assign you an orthopedic who's on rounds, who the really best orthopedics do everything in their power to not be on rounds, which means...
Absolutely. They don't want to be there.
Yes, which means you're not going to get the best orthopedic. And this one's going to end up doing the surgery. Have a plan before you tear something off. Like, who's the best orthopedic? And do I sound paranoid? Yeah. But I'm telling you, you need time.
You have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, you need time. You can't, even when I would do, and was in that situation, nope, look, as long as I'm not dying, get me out of here. I need to call and ask some people what's going on, because you got to understand. But they wait too long, and then boom, and then they have some botched bullshit, that kind of happens that way. But let's say they do find, a practitioner therapist, and it's good. Now they walk in, there's going to be a certain bias with most, right? They're going to look at a meathead.
I even have the bias. When you walk in or you send me some, oh shit, that's another muscle. Yeah. I do.
Yes. So then how do they, this is from them, how do they build that relationship, with, say, you guys, so you understand that they're on that same page?
Okay. I'm going to take that question because I suffer that. Okay. And the reason I say that, there's 2 types of doctor. One is the one that has a big ego. Mm-hmm. And Dave, you told that because I'm going to say this, you take testosterone.
Testosterone, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Then there's another one that initially thinks that way, but honestly, let me listen to the patient. So the first thing I think is mutual respect. And I want to say this because the best sample here is me and Dave used to have arguments, actually truly real arguments in my room. Dave would leave. That's oh, you don't know shit, and he would leave, right? But when you show respect to a patient, and I'm going to go from the physician first side, when I show respect to that patient always wants to come back. Now, how does the patient approaches me? One is, and this is the non-ego doctor, bring me information that you have. I read about this. I read this. I saw this. This is no Google, this is research. Now, to the ego doctor, if you bring those papers, you bring this information, they're going to take it the wrong way. I know this is going to sound condescending, but I would say with the ego doctor, I'd semi-stupid. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but say, hey, listen, I hurt my shoulder. I think I did it this way. And I don't know how I did it, but I think I did it this way. That doctor with the ego says, oh, this guy doesn't know as much. Let me help him. 1. 2 is make sure that you do not push the conversation, because as soon as you start pushing the conversation, they back off. Oh, this guy knows it all. This guy's not going to work for me. I don't want to deal with this, which I know that I like that on my office, but most doctors don't like that. 3, sit there and listen to the doctor. Even though if he says that you're black but you're white, or white and you're black, listen to him. Once you listen to what he presented, then ask him and write it down. Do you mind answering these questions for me? If you don't have time now, please let me know later. This is one of the biggest things that I've seen, because I do teach residents and I teach students, medical school, nurse practitioners. As soon as the patient says, can you please answer from me later, or can you please give me a call? But you can write 100 questions, but write it. I know you don't have the time, but can you please do this? That opens the door for that doctor to be able to contact you later.
I agree. I think the biggest thing, and I saw this with you, that you sustained a leg injury and you reached out to me. You already had a team. And I said, you know what? Try this, 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 and this. And you went, oh, okay. And I said, we got to find out how bad this is. Talk to Jeremy. He's down the street. So you went down and you got the ultrasound and everything else. And so you have a team of people that from different pathways, that you can get to where you want as far as the recovery, and then build it from there. I think the other thing is that when you're dealing with a chiropractor or medical doctor or anything else, ones that use, pieces of paper. I have a big whiteboard. Every time I go to Eric's place, we go downstairs in the basement and it's a 3-hour lecture on the whiteboard, which is awesome because it's space-age information. Use the whiteboard to explain stuff. Most people they don't understand the verbiage. They don't understand the language, the lexicon. If I start using terms that the patient has no idea, if I say, you're a acromioclavicular joint, and they're like, what is that? But if I have a picture beside it, I say this joint right here, and they're like, oh, okay. And I use the whiteboard and I plan out as far as their path to recovery to lifting more. And the classic example was Ken Wetham. Ken came to me. He reached me on Facebook, and he said, "Listen, I think at that time he had won the world's in his category, and he said, I want to squat 900, but it starts bothering me at 400 pounds, and can I, I'm squatting over 800, but I want to get to 900." I went, great. So he came in, and we worked on him, and he was very diligent, and I did everything possible, and we got him to a 900-pound squat. And Ken's 50, it was 52 at the time. And he goes, "You think we can do 1,000? I went, absolutely. Let's do it. You talk to most doctors, their very first thing would be, why would you want to do that? You want someone who's enthusiastic, that sort of goes, yeah, let's do everything possible. So I went to meets and helped him out. And then I'd go to his training facility in his garage, and he would help me and everything else. And you build that personal relationship, but someone that, number one, understands training and also is enthusiastic about you doing more versus questioning why are you even doing that? Why don't you do something else? Can't you just use machines? That's what they told me. I was getting ready for the national championships in powerlifting 2 weeks before. I was squatting over 500 at the time. 2 weeks before, right tendon, it sounded like a bed sheet ripping. And so I was out, and I've spent 8 months seeing medical doctors. He said, just do leg extension. Didn't know what he was talking about. Massage, physio, everything else. Finally, a small little chiropractor, Merv Ritchie, weighed 130 pounds. His arm was about this big. Starts doing muscle testing. Right side, no strength. Left side, full strength. This is 8 months after. I could squat 400, but after that, I couldn't squat more. It was too painful. And he says, your knee healed a long time ago. He says, it's coming from your back. And I went, what? So started doing back adjustments, and the whole SI joint was torqued. He took x-rays, and you could see it. So it was a neurological inhibition, but would only show up once the weight got heavier. I could run, I could go up and down stairs. My knee pain was non-existent until I was squatting and I forced it. And people are like, well, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, it's no different than your car. If you're driving your car at say 30 miles an hour, steering wheel's fine, everything else. But if the wheel's out of balance and you're going 60, 70, the steering wheel starts shaking. You could replace the steering wheel, it'll still shake. Sometimes the pattern is further down. My knee had healed, but the low back. So literally after 3 weeks of treatment, I was back squatting over 500, and I'm going in a powerlifting contest, at age 59, next week. So you can be longevity, but you need a team, and you need someone that says, yeah, this is what the problem is. If someone can't give you, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, if someone can't give you the answer to it, find someone else.
Absolutely. You talk about a team. The doctor also have a team, because if I send Dave to another doctor,
yes,
if I send it to a person that's going to think, oh, he's taking testosterone, that's why it happened, I don't want to send him there.
Right.
That's why I like to make phone calls to the doctors, which I don't think doctors do that anymore. Also, one thing that I want you to tell every person that is a patient out there, there are doctors that feel sorry for you, which is okay. It's a human response, a human feeling. But the one that shows compassion is the one that truly is going to help you.
Yep.
Let me say this again. There are people, I feel sorry for you. You screw up, But the person that shows compassion wants to help you fix that issue. Be aware of that. And you can tell who person is going to feel sorry for you. It's okay. It happens. That's the person that feels sorry for you. The patient says, really, how did it happen? When did it happen? They start asking you the questions. That's the person that's going to show.
You want the enthusiasm.
Where I see most of the issues from, I don't see them because, as you just said, my referrals are vetted. Mm-hmm. Somebody will go into a doctor, specialist, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the issue is. It's because they're on testosterone.
Yes.
So what I've kind of suggested out there is that if that's where they always go first, to me, it's a red flag. Because let's say you're ill and you go there and they say, well, it's the testosterone, go off. What if you have freaking cancer?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, with that, it's still building that relationship. But I think Eric made a really good point of having a list of questions, because even if they're going to be combative and say, yes, your test levels are 150, that's fine. You don't need a hormone optimization. Then in your list of questions, you'll ask more specific questions. And if they can't answer them, you find somebody else.
Yeah.
This is not an easy thing to navigate.
No.
I think that's what they're kind of also misunderstanding is how many, you go through a ton of practitioners and doctors until you find that one person. Then once you find the right one, they have a network.
Yes.
Then you rely on their network, but you got to spend a lot of time finding that right one, especially when you're talking about hormone optimization, because that, most doctors, and this is another reason why it's a red flag, and I'm going to kind of bash your industry a little bit. There's not a lot of hormone replacement people coming into their office buying them lunch, lobbying them, right? And I'm not a doctor, one sitting here. I think a lot of the epidemic with antidepressants is who's visiting the office the most.
Absolutely. That's why they say women have more depression. No, women go more to the doctor. But I see the same men. If you ask the question, they're depressed too. We don't ask them.
Yes.
Or they don't offer it. And they don't want to go to the doctor because of their weakness. No, there's more women depressed. No, it's because more women go to the doctor and complain, I am depressed, which is bogus, but.
Yeah. So I'm taking it a little bit different route is, a lot of doctors don't really continue their education.
That is correct.
Right, and there's a low testosterone epidemic. One of the questions was how much have you seen the testosterone low? There's a low testosterone epidemic. So to me, if somebody's going in because they have low testosterone, the doctor's like, no, you don't, you know, all this other stuff, and they're not even looking. I'm like, no, wait a minute. This isn't almost, it's an epidemic. If they're not keeping up on this,
that is correct,
which is very basic, then they're also not keeping up on this, or this, which means most of their education's coming from the sales reps, the drug sales reps who are coming in during their lunch. This is not a doctor I want to talk to. Anything that's super basic like that, they should be able to know. So it's a red flag. And that's, it's more work.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'll
60% of the doctors, once they graduate, I learned what I needed to learn.
Yeah.
I might read something here and there. I know it. Don't worry about it. That is a very bad weakness that I see of us, our MDs at least. I read every single day between 5 to 7 papers. I sit on the bathroom. I was sitting right here on your bathroom and I was reading a paper, right? About lactate. I know that sounds stupid, but that's what we were arguing about the last night. So I'm reading the paper because I want to know more about what he was talking about. Most doctors don't do it anymore. I ask my patients in my office, bring me research paper that you have on it. I have learned so much more from patients bringing me research papers that I go, oh my God, I never thought about it. But again, my ego's laughed because I have been beaten up really bad. You beat me in a few points. I said, Ken beat me in a few points. I said, I got to learn this. I didn't know anything about it. Let me go and learn. When the doctors sit there and they say they know it all, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So with low testosterone free and total, I think the question was the age group 20 to 30. How much have you seen that increase?
Oh my God.
Last? And then why?
This is a great question. And actually, first of all, we establish levels of testosterone based on a sick population because we don't do tests on the healthy population. They're not going to show to the doctor. So immediately average, remember, we do this this blood test on people that are either on the hospital or they're sick. We never use healthy people. So that's one thing that I think that the research, that the levels they give us, which by the way, they currently change. Now normal levels are down to 210, by the way. That's normal. So we're seeing, we're seeing a lowering of the lower levels of testosterone. So that means you, quote unquote, you might see less. Not because we're having more, it's because we're lowering the numbers that are required to be called low, right?
Well, it's called symptomatically normal.
Yes.
So you're normal, but you have all the symptoms.
Yes. So they don't treat that. Now, to answer Dave's questions, sadly enough, I'm seeing more and more people that are low on testosterone, that they don't even know it. I'm not talking about you come to my office, hey, I want to check my testosterone levels. I think they're low. It's me doing the test. And I said, oh my God, what is this? For example, I saw a 23-year-old kid in my office. He didn't complain. I just did it. His levels were 207, just right at the end of normal. It's 23, by the way. This is normal, right? So I called this kid and I said, hey, you know, how do you feel? I feel great. Are you tired? Well, once in a while. Do you recover from your workouts? No. And I asked this kid at 23, I remember having erections when I got up. How often you get erections when you wake up? He sat there and said, you know what? I used to have them every day. Haven't had it for a few, now that you said that, Dr. Serrano, for a few weeks. And I said, what have you been doing? Well, I play football. So I'm going to talk about things that are happening now. Injuries to the brain.
Yes.
Car accidents, football, basketball, whatever. 2, toxins, xenoestrogen. The most common contaminant in blood is birth control pills, believe it or not. The most common contaminant in water is birth control pills. Plastic bottles. They are actually toxins to the system. There's things that are affecting. 3, stress. It is huge when you sit down and talk to that person. What's going on in your life? I'm always stressed. I'm always doing this. That actually lowers your testosterone levels. Okay. 4, medications. I used to see 100 patients, 2 would be taking medications. I see 100 now, 90 are taking a medication. And out of that 90, 70 are taking 2 or more, which is crazy. Antidepressant, anti-ulcer, blood pressure medication. And did the doctor talk to you? And we are guilty of treating symptoms, not cause. So how often do I see low testosterone levels? If you don't come to my office looking for that, about 40 to 50%, which is insane. Can it be a vaccine? Who knows? There's absolutely, Dave, you are correct. But we're not going to say that because that is not correct.
I have nothing to add.
Okay. So I agree totally with you.
Well, the one thing that it's circled up now with sleep a few times is stress.
Yes.
You know, and stress management. So with your patients, what are the things outside of journaling and so forth that you tell them, praying, journaling, stuff like
Yes.
that? Is there anything that we left out just as far as stress management?
I have a little, I just gave a lecture to the Special Forces. And one thing I asked my patient is, what would make you happy?
Yeah.
What would make you happy now? And of course, what's the most common answer that they say?
Money.
Money.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I say, okay, so if I give you more money, right, can you buy a better bed? Absolutely. Do you buy in a bed give you better sleep? No. If I give you more money, can you buy a clock? Oh, hell yeah, I can buy a better clock, a better watch. Does that give you, that buys you time? You can buy a company. Does it bring you love? I try to go through all these things with those patients to let them know it's not money. I think the biggest missing component right now in almost every patient is spirituality and peace. Once you're in peace, all the other pieces become together. And it's very, very hard to obtain peace. So what I ask the patients now is, give me 3 things that you want to change in your life. Some of them, oh, I want more money. Some of them, oh, I want a bigger, believe it or not, a better car so I can drive back and forth from work. And I'm thinking, are you shitting me? Those are your 3? No, I want you to sit down and think about if I was a magic genie and I can give you 3 things, and then when they start thinking, some people is, I wish I can change the relationship with my parents. You know, and another huge thing right here is guilt. We're very good at guilt, especially in religion. And another thing that I'll say is media. Media has put a picture out there of truly not real life. They always put the girl with the big boobs, always put the girl doing all these fun things, but that girl is super depressed. You know, I have a very famous person that is putting all the crap on the internet, and you say, oh my God, that guy is perfect. And it's not at all, because the picture that he presents, which is falsely a picture, and that's what people want to be. This is the most generation that had the most communication that they will ever have, but the loneliest generation ever.
I agree. I think the biggest thing is you need to rewire the brain with what we're being exposed to. The past 2 years have been very difficult. And I don't know if you've seen this, Eric, with your patients, but the amount of depression and anxiety has increased, especially with...
Suicides has increased, absolutely incredible.
Well, I had one patient, he's a police officer, and he came in and he says, Ken, I would usually go to 1 suicide, a week, and now it's 5 a day, and it was older men that had businesses and lost their businesses. And, we have the kids, they're socially awkward to begin with, and now you've locked them in a room. Canada was really bad. They shut down all the gyms for 330 days. So you need to shift the news, either turn it off or look at other things. The other thing, Dave knows this, I'm a big fan of Anthony Robbins, and he was trying to work with people on that. And you need to build a compelling future. And I needed that for myself, because I found myself, these rabbit holes that are happening right now, especially if, we understand medicine and biology, and a lot of stuff just doesn't make any sense, and there's other agendas, whatever. But I needed to build a compelling future for myself as I was kind of getting more depressed and more anxiety, and just, you become more isolated. And that's the number one thing with depression, is that you just don't want to see anyone. You just want to lock yourself in the room. So I started getting into, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And it's basically become purpose-driven. So I became a purpose-driven in training. So all of a sudden, I saw a competition show up. I'm going to go in it. 10 weeks. I've never done that. Usually I would train for, 4 to 6 months for it, get prepared. 10 weeks, great. I don't care what I'm going to lift, but I walk into the gym. It's a purpose.
You have a purpose.
I have a purpose and everything else. But you also create a purpose-driven life. And doing this symposium with you and this is just magical for me that, I'm able to spend time with friends and develop something and create something literally out of nothing, and just, know that it's going to work out, and make a huge impact on a lot of lives. So you create something behind your life so that you don't get stressed out. It's really hard to be happy when you're stressed. Mm-hmm. And we grow when we are stressed, which is training. So you do it intelligently. Stress isn't the problem. The classic one is, some people freeze in the winter, other people go skiing. It's not what happens, it's what you actually do with it.
It's a situation that is what you respond to the situation.
Yes.
I want people to the listeners, I want to define a purpose. A purpose for you has to have 3 rewards. If that purpose doesn't have those 3 rewards, you don't have a true purpose yet. It has to have a psychosocial component. Number 1, it has to have a spiritual component, and it has to have a physical component.
Yeah.
I'm going to show how is that a purpose for Dr. Kinakin. He hasn't been doing nothing. He said, oh my God, I'm going to do that specific tournament or specific competition.
Yep.
That became a physical component because I want to bench 500, right? 400.
No. Yeah.
Okay. It became a spiritual component because now he started doing what? Oh my goodness, I got to go and train. I got to go meet somebody. I got to meet my friend Matt, which became a psychosocial component.
Yeah.
Now he's sitting there. Now he's here with me and I'm making him pray. All those things, that purpose became a true purpose because he has to have those always 3 rewards. If he only have a physical, bodybuilders are the best sample. I got to look the best. I got to look the best. Oh, they won, and how they're so sad because there was not a psychosocial or spiritual component to that purpose. So just remember that. I hope that makes a difference.
It's not the competition, it's the journey. It always is.
I'll give a really condensed version of this because I just did a whole podcast on just this aspect.
Wow.
And that is, it's the purpose and its aim. I mean, it's no mystery. My aims: live, learn, pass on. Those fill all 3 of those very, very well. And I don't know how I have obtained all this knowledge, just through multiple sources, Stephen Covey, Anthony Robbins, many other ones. You have to create a strategic objective.
Yes.
Right? So where do you see your life in 3 to 5 years? And I've taken so many people through this, it'll blow your mind. But what is that? What's it look like? Not just, I want to have a business and have this and have that. No, what does it look like? Define it for me. Business, how many employees? What's the revenue? Or do you want to be married, not married? Define this, write it out. Take a page and write it all out.
That is awesome.
And then once you have that strategic objective, go through and highlight as many little indicators in that strategic objective as you can. What's quantifiable in where you want to be in 3 years? How much money is the business going to generate? How many employees are you going to need? Maybe you don't know how to define customer service. Well, you can put it on a scale of 1 to 5. So those become your key strategic indicators.
Yes. Okay.
Right? Training is the same way. You got conjugate, you got max effort, or your max effort exercise to determine the main thing. So now you got the strategic objective, which create those key indicators. And then once you have those key indicators, what are your rules? And your rules are your core values. Yeah. And where that comes back is I'll ask people to go back and what were 10 influences as you were growing up that affected you in a positive way? Anthony Robbins actually had some kind of impact on you. Why? Yep. Just write down one sentence, why?
Yep.
Write down 10 people who said one thing that changed the direction of your life. Obviously, it was a powerful thing.
Yep.
It happened for a reason.
Yep.
Now, I have a reason. I think God is the reason that brought that to you. But now, some people don't have that. Now, on the other side, all they have are negative things. But what 10 negative things pissed you off so bad that you can't let it go? Write down those people and what they said, and then go to your computer and just search list of core values. Read each one of those sentences and assign a core value to those, right? On one of them, they were your core values. On the other one, it was a violation of your core values. Once you know what your core values are, those are your rules, for the key strategic indicators and all the other stuff. And when you have those, yes, you're going to fall within a couple deviations. Nobody's perfect, but now you know the base. Like, oh, that was, I was greedy. no, that's not me. My core value is here. Then you bring it back in. And then when you have that, if I have a decision, a business decision, and I don't know where, I just look at the core values and the answer's right there.
Right.
I may not like the outcome of the answer. Maybe it's less money, but if it's a violation of my core value, I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to be stressed,
Right.
and all those other type of things. So that's what bottom up kind of creates, now what's that mission? What's that purpose?
Yeah.
Right. What's the aim? I see live, learn, pass on everywhere I look. I can never forget it. It came through that whole system of going through all that. Then I'm constantly reminded by that. Then when frustration comes, it's like, okay, no, refocus, recheck, oh, okay, this explains that, and it helps with all that, which is kind of simplifying, a lot longer process, but it's not that hard.
No.
Once people know what their core values are, where they stem from, they start to understand things a lot more, like, oh, this is why this makes me mad. Well, get rid of it. Why keep it? It's just going to, why would you want to keep that in your life? And everybody gets, sucked down rabbit holes and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
Toxic people that you don't want to be spending time, but you have to, which is one of the biggest things. I loved your idea. Write the 10 worst things that you can have or you have. Mm-hmm. Then write them. The car I'm spent, then get rid of it. That is awesome. I got to use that now. I have 5 kids, so they've also bought a key word here, values. I have this, values, rules, and conviction. Teach that to your children because all those will make a better child. And convictions because I'm religious, I believe in God. The rules you have to do and my values these are the values and the rules are there so you can obtain those values. So that is so important, Dave. That's insane.
Yeah. The other thing with what, a lot of people got sucked into this, these rabbit holes, so with that, what I learned, because I used to not even know who the hell the vice president was. I didn't give a fuck. Yeah. I did not. I didn't know who our governor was until this started. I agree. I had no idea. All I can say is if you're going to go down the rabbit hole, go deep. Go all the way to the main source. Go to the studies and go to people that know it. Go all the way down. Don't just go here, because then you're just falling for this side or this side. That's marketing. That's, negotiating a vote. Go to the main source. Then what you're going to find out when you see the main source, that's not what they're saying.
Right.
That's what not they're saying. They're both fucking liars.
That's right.
Then you start realizing, then why am I wasting my time?
Yep.
And then that kind of alleviates some of that as well.
And eliminate them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you realize that what you're hearing and you don't get that emotional hit, that people are pulled into. So it's sort of like, this is all bullshit, so therefore I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, or maybe it's not bullshit, but you don't know enough to be able to make, but it's impacting your life in a negative way, which then, yes, that's, bullshit. I'm going to flip this to somebody asked, and this is a simple one. What are, from the nutritional standpoint, I'm not going to go supplements because the nutrition is not right. What's the point? What are three takeaways, 3 things that people should really focus on, either adding in their diet or taking out of their diet, just overall?
To answer that question, I have to have goals. But I will say, I'm going to give 3 rules. And I'm kind of cheating right now because we had this discussion yesterday also. And, the first thing is we try to tell people, try to eat what is real, because people eat Kool-Aid is not real. Protein shakes are not real. I don't care if I make money selling supplements. You need to eat real food. 2, make sure that it's organic. At least 3 things have to be organic. I don't care if the other things are organic or not. Anything that has fat on it has to be organic because the fat store the toxins. So dairy, milk, cheese, beef, all those make sure they're organic. Fruits don't have to be organic. Just make sure you wash them very thoroughly. Vegetables, I don't care so much about being organic. Now, do know that the nutrient density of the non-organic to organic is different, but at least they don't have to be organic. 3, eat food with company. Don't eat food by yourself. I know this is going to sound crazy, and Dave, you're going to laugh at me, but I see all these people eating alone, and when you eat alone, what do you eat? Shit. Okay. I don't care. When I'm with my family, crap, I got to plan it. I got 5 kids. My wife, thank you. She's awesome. Like we ate yesterday with Anthony. Anthony took us to a very expensive restaurant. So I told Anthony, I always tell Anthony, when you make money, then you pay for me. When you make money, and then we've been out a bunch of times. But yesterday I said, Anthony, you're screwed. And I said, I'm going to order the most expensive plate that we have in this restaurant. But I sat there and we joke, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
Company, but we make great choices. And I'm going to give you the best sample. Ken ordered one type of salad. I think Anthony ordered another type of salad. I ordered a beet ghost salad.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they saw my salad. Oh, shit.
Yep.
That looks nice. Oh, crap, I'm losing weight. They ordered the same salad. Why? Because the choice was made by me. At that moment in time, I want to eat this decent salad. And all of us ate the same salad, which was crazy, true or false. And I'm cheating because we discussed this yesterday. What are you thinking? Give me 3 spots there.
I think the biggest thing, if you look at, and you know this, dealing with people's nutrition for years, people eat the same 10, 12 foods all the time.
Every day.
Their ability to go outside of that spectrum is they don't know how. The biggest thing, the biggest advice that you can do is learn how to cook. We do not know how to cook anymore. I think right now most people, I didn't realize that you can get McDonald's sent to you by Uber. Like, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But learn how to cook. I've taken cooking classes. I love cooking classes. We used to do them in the clinic.
We should have a chef at the SWIS.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, no, we can't. We can't because of the food.
I know.
Well, we can talk about. We can talk about food. We just can't sell it.
Yes.
So that. But learn how to. Actually, that's a really good idea. Let's kind of find. Who's that Jack Cook from the White House?
Yep. No, we'd have to look that up. Yeah. I like where you're going there.
I might have the person for you guys, but we'll talk later.
So learn how to cook. Take cooking classes. We used to run them in the clinic and just teach people. And I had a program that I'm going to be starting up again. It was called HELP. And the acronym is Healthy Eating Lifestyle Program. And what it is we taught people, because people don't even know how to buy food. So become educated on how to buy good cucumbers, tomatoes, potatoes, everything else. But in our cooking class, Gerda, who was working with me and doing all the nutritional counseling, she would show you how to cook it, and then I would explain, this is why you eat it. These are the nutrients. This is everything else. And so they could actually experience. So cooking is so important. Take a cooking class. They're all over. I watch cooking classes online. There's some great master chef, and not Gordon Ramsay yelling at you, but there's some great tips that you can learn.
Absolutely.
The other one is learn how to use spices. We are so just used to, okay, I got this one meal, I'll just throw a little bit of salt on it. Sometimes that tastes good. Use all different types of spices. Bring out the flavor. But open up your spectrum. There used to be, how many different varieties of corn did there used to be? There was hundreds, if not thousands.
There was hundreds. I don't know 1,000, but there was 100 different, and there still are different. We don't blue, red.
Yeah.
But people don't. I don't know. Only yellow corn.
But all the different nutrients of all the different things that are out there. So we become regimented too much into that, and learn on all the when we're doing the nutritional counseling, learn how to use utensils. Like I would sit down with a guy and I'd say, you know what, I want you steam some parsnips and some asparagus, and he would look at me and go, he's one of the courageous ones, says, what's a steamer? Most people don't even know what a steamer is. And I said, okay. And so I would literally go to Walmart and I bought a whole bunch of all the different appliances. And I took it off and I said, okay, you put water here. Here's the metal insert. You put it on for about 7 minutes on high heat. It'll get a little bit mushy, and that's when you want to eat it. And it's like, oh, great. You can buy commercial ones. The best thing I bought recently is my air fry griller. I use that twice a day. I don't even barbecue anymore. I go in, hit the button, hit it on high heat, which is about 500. Once it preheats, in 10 minutes to 500 degrees, I throw the steak on, I walk away, and I can do other things. Barbecue, it's always on fire. It tastes like a piece of rubber by the time I'm done. So learn how to use appliances, learn how to cook, open up your spectrum and use spices. That's probably the best thing I could tell people.
How are yours idea?
What my idea?
Yes.
What for the
Yes.
basic health?
Yes.
Water. Drink just plain water. Plastic bottle is probably not the best idea, but drink
people don't
water.
do that. You're correct.
and they
Coca-Cola.
don't. Very, very little.
Oh, yeah.
Water. So that for me it's a big one.
Huge.
Mine get a little bit more defined because we've had to work through a lot of different issues. I only eat twice a day, so I have long time periods between. It helps me feel better.
It does.
I don't feel bloated and all the other kind of crap from that. Digestion's a little bit better. I'm not saying that's because we talked one time about nutritional timing. Here's 3 different options to lose weight. And those, I forget what the 3 options was, but one was intermittent fasting, and the other one
time restriction, calorie restriction, or macronutrient restriction.
Yeah. So mine was a time restriction. Then I just lean into that. And then, as you said, and I've learned through Eric, is you need a variety of foods, because if all you do is eat the same food over and over and over and over, you will become allergic to that food.
That is correct. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that. So, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it is, a just different type of right. There's no reason why you can't, and just kind of go that route. Now I fuck up like most people. And I'll eat things I shouldn't, but it's not all the time. It's
80-20.
It's probably less than that, but I know it's there, and it's like, okay, here's what it is, and I'm not eating the pizza and the other meal, just crap like that.
The Snickers.
And I guess the other thing that I do is a lot of the things that we try to balance out with my health, they are weight dependent, right? So I keep my weight, I let him dictate. Right now, it's like, don't go up, don't go down, stay right here, because we got things really, really moving where they need to move. So I'm not going to drop a lot of weight, because now it's going to mix things up again, and we'll deal with that later. I'm not going to let it go up. The goal is to maintain it, so
which you have.
Yeah. So you want to figure out what that is, because if I want to reduce the variables, if I can reduce the variables, then it's easier to figure out how to control the ones that are a little bit harder to control. Hormone for me that's one of the trickier ones.
Also, I want to add this: God invented seasons. During freaking winter, you cannot buy a freaking vegetable. There's no vegetables outside. Why do you go to a freaking Kroger's or supermarket and buy vegetables? No, you can't have vegetables because they're not growing out there. Change your style. It's a chance for you. Now here comes spring. Oh my God, fruits, vegetables. Start eating what's in season. That's what we try to do at home. We grow the tomatoes now. We grow the broccoli. But we pound them that now. Later we don't, because we don't have them. So I try to teach my kids, at least my kids do it. They try to eat whatever is in season.
I think the other thing is you have to learn how to chew. We see this a lot with protein drinks, where people will just have a protein drink and they chug it, and then they have bloating and gas and everything else. So one of the tricks that you can do is that when you have any type of drink, you chew it. You go basically 3 times. And what that does is it starts 30% of the enzyme system, 30% of digestion happens in the mouth. The other thing is neurologically, it starts to activate the stomach, the intestines, and everything, produce enzymes so that it's preparing for the food. The third is that the speed decreases. If you drink anything highly concentrated, the body can't handle it. So if you have a fruit drink, anyone that does any juicing, I always say, you know what, dilute it by 50%, because you took all the fiber out, so therefore it's just be an insulin spike. So if you just chew it, just a little bit, it slows it down. It allows digestion in the mouth and digestion in the stomach.
I remember we discussed this from research. You ask people how often you have to chew. Remember we discussed it?
Yeah.
And after research shows about 30 times.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You should masticate about 30 times whatever food you put on your mouth. That's a long freaking, count to 30.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
People are not aware of that, but that's what the research shows. For better digestibility, prevention of allergies, stuff like that, you should masticate your food 30 times, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to circle back real quick to the hormone optimization, just because Merrick Health is a sponsor of the podcast. And I told everybody I was going to keep them up to date with that. So I got my labs back, and he looked. Eric is obviously going to be the one. So I haven't spoke to the practitioners yet, which I will, and then I'll compare to what he's told me. But the labs, the way the setup for the labs is
It's very good.
it's better than I've seen.
Actually, that's better than any other lab that I've seen. That was absolutely amazing. Is that the baseline? That is excellent.
Yes. So just for the update on that, the baseline testing it's obviously easier to read.
And I don't even have nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you that was excellent.
Yes. So that's the update on that. I'm going to thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the SWIS Symposium, the link is in the description.
Yeah,
You'll
so it's
sign
on
up.
your website,
it's
right?
on the website, and it will be everywhere the podcast is, and on YouTube, and we're out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That was awesome.